Most people think car maintenance is all about pricey repairs and endless trips to the mechanic. But here's the truth. Mechanics don't treat their own cars the same way they treat yours. They have secret tricks, smart shortcuts, and insider habits that keep their rides running smoother, longer, and cheaper than you'd ever expect. So here's the real question. Why are you paying more and stressing out, while mechanics are quietly saving time and money with these simple moves? And if you knew their secrets, how much longer could your car last? Stick around, because the answers might completely change the way you take care of your car. Number 20. High-quality oil. Your average mechanic will spend the extra $20 on premium synthetic oil because they know what cheap oil does to engines over time. In 2025, with modern engines running hotter and tighter tolerances than ever before, that difference matters more than you think. Most car owners grab whatever's on sale at the auto parts store. Mechanics buy oil that meets or exceeds their manufacturer's specifications. They read those long strings of letters and numbers on the bottle like a recipe. APISP, ILSAC GF6A, Dexos 1 Gen 3, these aren't just random codes. They're your engine's best friends. Number 19. Oil filters get swapped religiously, not reluctantly. Here's something that'll blow your mind. That little cylindrical filter does more heavy lifting than most people realize. It catches metal particles, carbon deposits, and all the tiny bits of destruction that happen inside your engine every single day. A mechanic changes their oil filter every single oil change, no exceptions. The average driver might stretch that filter an extra change or two to save 15 bucks. Big mistake. A clogged filter forces oil to bypass the filtration system entirely. Clean oil becomes dirty, oil becomes expensive problems. Mechanics have seen engines with 200,000 miles that look better inside than engines with 50,000 miles. The difference? Filter discipline. Do you have that filter discipline when it comes to your car? I will leave you to answer that. Number 18. Keep tires properly inflated. According to 2025 Department of Energy data, underinflated tires can reduce fuel economy by up to 3%. For the average driver spending $2,000 annually on gas, that's $60 literally floating away into thin air. Mechanics check their tire pressure monthly because they understand math. But here's what most people miss. Tire pressure changes with temperature. For every 10-degree drop in ambient temperature, your tires lose about 1 psi. Winter hits, pressure drops, and suddenly your fuel economy tanks. Your tires wear unevenly, your handling gets sloppy, all because you didn't add air. Number 17. Tire rotation happens like clockwork every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Most drivers rotate their tires when they remember, which is usually never. Mechanics set calendar reminders because they've bought too many sets of tires for customers who wore out their fronts while the rears still looked new. Here's the thing about tire rotation. Your front tires work harder. They steer, they brake, and on front-wheel drive cars, they accelerate too. Without rotation, you'll replace fronts twice as often as rears. A $120 tire rotation every few months beats buying 2 new tires at $300 each. In all of this rotation, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Number 16. OEM parts aren't always necessary, but mechanics know when they are. Original equipment manufacturer parts cost more, but they're engineered specifically for your car. That aftermarket brake pad might be half the price, but if it's made from different materials, it could wear your rotors faster or perform poorly in extreme conditions. Mechanics use a simple rule. For safety-critical systems like brakes, steering, and suspension, they lean toward OEM or OEM equivalent parts. For everything else, quality aftermarket parts work fine. They know which brands make reliable parts and which ones are junk with fancy packaging. The key is understanding that not all aftermarket parts are created equal. Some exceed OEM specifications, others barely meet minimum standards. Mechanics know the difference because they've installed thousands of parts and seen which ones fail. Number 15. Brake fluid gets flushed every 2 to 3 years, period. This isn't negotiable in a mechanic's garage. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air over time. Water and brake systems don't mix well. Moisture lowers the boiling point of brake fluid, which can lead to brake fade or complete brake failure in extreme conditions. Most drivers never think about brake fluid until their brakes feel spongy. By then, moisture has already started corroding internal brake components, master cylinders, brake lines, calipers, all getting eaten away by water contamination. A $150 brake fluid flush beats a $1,500 brake system overhaul. Here's what mechanics know. Brake fluid should be clear or slightly amber. If it's dark brown or black, it's overdue for replacement. If there are metal particles floating around, you've already got problems brewing. Number 14. Clean battery terminals aren't just about looks. Corrosion on battery terminals creates electrical resistance. Resistance makes your alternator work harder to charge the battery. A harder working alternator fails sooner. A failing alternator kills batteries faster. It's an expensive cycle that starts with ignoring some white crusty buildup. Mechanics clean their battery terminals every few months with baking soda and water. They apply a thin layer of petroleum jelly to prevent future corrosion. Total time investment, 5 minutes. Total money saved, potentially hundreds in premature battery and alternator replacement. Modern cars have dozens of electronic systems that draw power even when the engine is off. A weak battery struggling through corroded terminals can't maintain proper voltage. Low voltage confuses electronic modules, triggers warning lights, and causes all sorts of weird problems that are expensive to diagnose. So ask yourself, how clean are your battery terminals? Number 13. Cabin air filters get replaced annually without fail. Most people don't even know their car has a cabin air filter. It's tucked away behind the glove box or under the hood, quietly filtering the air you breathe while driving. A clogged filter restricts airflow, makes your HVAC system work harder, and fills your car with allergens and pollutants. Mechanics replace cabin air filters every year because they've seen what comes out of neglected ones: leaves, insects, and enough dust to fill a vacuum cleaner bag. Your car's ventilation system isn't designed to handle that kind of obstruction. Blower motors burn out. Evaporator coils get clogged. Simple maintenance becomes expensive repairs. Here's a fun fact. A dirty cabin air filter can reduce heating and cooling efficiency by up to 40%. In extreme climates, that means your defrosters don't work properly, your air conditioning struggles, and your comfort suffers, all because you didn't spend $20 on a filter once a year. Number 12. Fuel system cleaners are worth every penny. Mechanics swear by fuel system cleaners, and they use them religiously in their own cars every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Here's why this matters more than you think. Modern gasoline contains up to 10% ethanol, which attracts moisture and creates carbon deposits that clog your fuel injectors over time. These deposits reduce fuel efficiency by 2 to 4% and can cost you an extra $150 to $300 per year in gas. Quality fuel system cleaners like Chevron Techron or Lucas Fuel Treatment contain polyetheramine (PEA) detergents that dissolve these deposits at the molecular level. When mechanics run these cleaners through their own systems, they're preventing injector replacement costs that typically run $300 to $800 per vehicle. Number 11. Belt and hose inspections save thousands. Smart mechanics inspect their belts and hoses every oil change, and this simple habit prevents 90% of roadside breakdowns according to ALA's 2024 data. They know that rubber components are the weak link in any vehicle system, and failure happens fast. Serpentine belts typically last 60,000 to 100,000 miles, but mechanics look for specific warning signs long before total failure. They check for cracking, fraying, glazing, and proper tension using the quarter-inch deflection rule when pressing the belt midway between pulleys. A loose belt reduces alternator efficiency by 15 to 20%, while an over-tight belt can destroy bearings in water pumps and power steering systems. Radiator hoses face even more stress, handling coolant temperatures up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit and pressures reaching 15 to 20 pounds per square inch. Mechanics squeeze hoses when engines are cold, feeling for soft spots, bulges, or hardening that signals impending failure. Number 10. Twice yearly waxing is non-negotiable. Professional mechanics wax their personal vehicles exactly twice per year, and the timing isn't random. They apply the first coat in late spring after pollen season ends, and the second in early fall before winter weather hits. This schedule maximizes protection during the harshest months when UV rays peak in summer and road salt attacks in winter. Quality Carnauba wax creates a microscopic barrier that reflects 99% of UV radiation, preventing oxidation that turns paint chalky and faded. The cost difference is dramatic. A $25 bottle of good wax protects a $3,000 paint job, while neglecting this simple step can reduce resale value by $1,500 to $2,500, according to Kelley Blue Book's 2024 analysis. Mechanics choose paste wax over spray-on products because paste formulations contain higher concentrations of protective polymers and last 4 to 6 months versus 6 to 8 weeks for sprays. They also know the secret application technique: work in 2x2 foot sections during overcast conditions when surface temperatures stay below 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's talk about the heart of your engine and why mechanics obsess over these small but mighty components. Number 9. Spark plug maintenance goes beyond basic replacement. Mechanics treat spark plugs like precision instruments because they understand that proper combustion depends on gaps measured in thousandths of an inch. They check their own plugs every 30,000 miles, using a feeler gauge to verify the electrode gap stays within manufacturer specifications, typically 0.024 to 0.06 inches depending on the engine. A gap that's too wide causes misfires and reduces fuel economy by 10 to 15%, while gaps that are too narrow create weak sparks that leave fuel unburned. Professional mechanics use iridium or platinum plugs in their personal vehicles because these metals resist erosion 5 times longer than standard copper plugs. The upfront cost difference seems significant at $8 to $12 per iridium plug versus $2 to $3 for copper, but the math works out. Iridium plugs last 100,000 miles compared to 20,000 for copper, saving money and labor over time. When installing new plugs, mechanics apply anti-seize compound to threads and torque to exact specifications using a calibrated wrench. Over-tightening by even 5 foot-pounds can crack ceramic insulators, while under-tightening creates heat buildup that destroys electrodes prematurely. They also know that different driving conditions affect plug life dramatically. Short trips and city driving create 40% more carbon deposits than highway miles because engines never reach optimal operating temperatures. Clear vision matters just as much as engine performance, which brings us to an often overlooked safety component. Number 8. Premium wiper blades are worth the investment. Mechanics spend $40 to $60 on premium wiper blades for their own cars because they understand that visibility equals safety and cheap blades fail when you need them most. Standard rubber blades last 6 to 12 months before developing streaks, but premium silicone blades maintain clear contact for 2 to 3 years while improving performance over time. The science involves blade design and material composition. Quality wipers use multiple pressure points and flexible frames that maintain contact across curved windshields at speeds up to 80 miles per hour. Cheap blades use rigid frames that create gaps and miss 15 to 20% of the windshield surface, especially near the edges where peripheral vision matters most for lane changes and turns. Mechanics know that wiper failure causes 25% more accidents during rain, according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data from 2024. They replace blades before winter because freezing temperatures make rubber brittle and reduce flexibility by 60%, while summer heat breaks down compounds that keep rubber supple. The professional installation secret involves cleaning the windshield with alcohol first because any residue prevents proper blade contact and creates instant streaking. Mechanics also adjust washer nozzles to hit the windshield at the correct angle, positioning the spray 4 to 6 inches ahead of the blade path for optimal cleaning action. Next, there's one maintenance habit that mechanics practice religiously, but customers often ignore. Number 7. Fluid levels determine engine longevity. Professional mechanics check all fluid levels monthly in their personal vehicles because they know that every system depends on proper lubrication and cooling to prevent catastrophic failure. Engine oil is obvious, but the other 6 fluids are equally critical: transmission fluid, brake fluid, power steering fluid, coolant, differential fluid, and windshield washer fluid. Each serves a specific purpose and operates within narrow parameters that determine component lifespan. Low brake fluid indicates pad wear or system leaks that can cause complete brake failure, while dark transmission fluid signals overheating that destroys internal clutches and costs $3,000 to $5,000 to repair. Mechanics use the dipstick method for engine oil, but also monitor color and consistency because black oil contains suspended contaminants that accelerate bearing wear. Fresh oil appears amber and flows smoothly, while worn oil turns black and feels gritty between fingers due to metal particles and carbon carbon deposits. They maintain coolant at exactly 50-50 antifreeze to water ratios because pure antifreeze actually transfers heat 30% less effectively than the proper mixture. Power steering fluid gets overlooked by most drivers, but mechanics know that low levels cause pump cavitation that creates the distinctive whining noise and eventual system failure, costing $400 to $800 to rebuild. The secret is understanding normal consumption rates. Engines consume 1 quart of oil per 1,000 miles as acceptable, while any other fluid loss indicates leaks requiring immediate attention. Mechanics also know that fluid color tells the whole story. Clear brake fluid is fresh, while brown indicates moisture contamination that reduces boiling point by 50 degrees Fahrenheit and causes brake fade during hard stops. They keep detailed maintenance logs tracking fluid changes because consistent service intervals prevent 85% of major mechanical failures, according to automotive reliability studies. Number 6. Replace air filters, way more often than you think. Most car manuals tell you to swap air filters every 12,000 to 15,000 miles, but here's what mechanics actually do. They check theirs every 3,000 miles and replace them around 6,000 to 8,000 miles. Why the difference? Because clean air filters can boost your fuel economy by up to 14% according to 2025 Department of Energy testing. And mechanics know that a $15 filter beats a $3,000 engine rebuild every single time. Your engine sucks in about 9,000 gallons of air for every gallon of gas it burns, so even a slightly dirty filter forces your engine to work harder. When mechanics pop the hood for routine checks, they always pull the air filter and give it a visual inspection. If it's gray instead of white, or if you can't see light through it when held up to the sun, it's done. Now, speaking of things that get dirty and need attention, there's another area mechanics obsess over that most drivers completely ignore. Number 5. Inspect suspension components like your life depends on it. Mechanics crawl under their cars every few months to check suspension parts because they know something scary. Worn suspension kills more than just your ride comfort. According to 2025 NHTSA data, suspension-related failures contribute to roughly 3% of all vehicle accidents, which might sound small until you realize that's about 2,000 crashes annually. When mechanics inspect their own suspension, they're looking for cracked rubber boots on CV joints, leaking shock absorbers, worn ball joints, and damaged sway bar links. They'll grab each wheel at 3 and 9 o'clock and try to wiggle it. Any movement means worn wheel bearings or loose components. They also bounce each corner of the car and count how many times it bounces back. If it bounces more than once or twice, the shocks or struts are shot. Here's the kicker. Mechanics replace suspension components in pairs, even if only one side is bad, because mismatched suspension creates uneven tire wear and handling problems. But before they even get under the car, smart mechanics have already applied a secret weapon that prevents most suspension bolts from seizing in the first place. Number 4. Use anti-seize lubricants on everything that matters. Here's a trick that separates weekend warriors from real pros. Mechanics coat threads with anti-seize compound on virtually every bolt they touch. This isn't just about making future repairs easier. It's about preventing the kind of catastrophic failures that turn simple maintenance into expensive disasters. Copper-based anti-seize compound costs about $8 for a tube that lasts years, but it can save you hundreds when that stuck bolt doesn't snap off in the block. Mechanics apply it to spark plug threads, oxygen sensor threads, brake caliper bolts, exhaust manifold studs, and suspension mounting bolts. The stuff works by creating a barrier that prevents dissimilar metals from galvanically welding themselves together, especially in the presence of salt and moisture. While we're talking about precision and attention to detail, there's another area where mechanics are absolutely fanatical about getting things exactly right. Number 3. Check wheel alignment more often than your wallet wants. Most people think wheel alignment is something you do when your car pulls to one side, but mechanics check their alignment every 6 months or whenever they notice uneven tire wear. Here's why. Proper alignment doesn't just prevent tire wear. It improves fuel economy by up to 7% according to 2025 testing by the Tire Industry Association. When your wheels aren't aligned, your tires fight each other instead of rolling straight, creating drag that makes your engine work harder. Mechanics use the penny test on their own tires monthly. Stick a penny upside down in the tread grooves. If you can see Lincoln's entire head, Your tires are worn to 2/32 of an inch and legally need replacement. But here's the mechanic's secret. They also look for specific wear patterns that indicate alignment problems long before tires are worn out. Outer edge wear means too much negative camber. Inner edge wear suggests too much positive camber. Feathered edges indicate toe problems. Cupped or scalloped wear points to suspension issues. When they spot these patterns early, a $75 alignment saves $800 in premature tire replacement. They also know that hitting potholes, curbs, or even aggressive parking can knock alignment out of spec, so they're extra careful about wheel alignment after any impact. Modern cars with low-profile tires and sport suspensions are especially sensitive to alignment changes. But you don't need fancy equipment to catch problems early. Mechanics train their ears to hear trouble before it becomes expensive. Number 2. Listen for unusual noises, like a diagnostic computer. Experienced mechanics drive with their windows cracked and radio off because they know their car's normal sounds better than their spouse's voice. They can distinguish between the whoosh of normal tire noise and the whir of a failing wheel bearing. They know the difference between brake pad wear indicators, a high-pitched squeal, and warped rotors, a grinding or pulsing. According to 2025 automotive diagnostic studies, about 67% of major mechanical failures give audible warnings for weeks or months before complete breakdown. Mechanics listen for specific sounds in specific conditions. A clicking during turns usually means CV joints are failing. A grinding when braking means you're down to metal-on-metal contact. A whining that changes with engine RPM often indicates transmission problems. A squealing that stops when you press the clutch points to a worn throwout bearing. They also know when to listen. Cold starts reveal different problems than highway cruising. They'll idle their cars for 30 seconds and listen for irregular rhythms, then accelerate gently while listening for hesitation or knocking. During highway driving, they'll coast in neutral and listen for wheel bearing noise, then accelerate and decelerate to isolate transmission sounds. The trick is consistency. They know exactly how their car should sound, so any deviation gets immediate attention. All of this careful observation and maintenance wouldn't mean much without a system to track what's been done and when. Number 1. Keep a maintenance log that would make NASA proud. Every mechanic worth their tools keeps a detailed maintenance log, and not just because they're obsessive-compulsive. A good maintenance log prevents duplicate work, identifies patterns, and proves to warranty departments that you've maintained your vehicle properly. Mechanics track everything: oil changes with mileage and oil type, filter replacements, fluid flushes, tire rotations, and even small repairs. They note the date, mileage, what was done, what parts were used, and any observations about how the car was running. This isn't just record keeping, it's diagnostic gold. When a problem develops, they can look back and see if it correlates with recent work or if it's part of a pattern. According to 2025 automotive warranty claim data, vehicles with complete maintenance records have claim approval rates 34% higher than those without documentation. Mechanics also use their logs to plan ahead. They know exactly when the next timing belt is due, when transmission fluid needs changing, or when brake pads will need replacement based on wear patterns. They'll even note things like slight vibration at highway speeds or took longer to start this morning, because these early warning signs help diagnose problems before they become breakdowns. A simple spiral notebook costs $2 and can save thousands in warranty disputes and prevent major failures through early intervention. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comment section down below and turn on your notifications to know when next we upload. See you in our next video. Bye.